All right, welcome back. We have what could very well be the finale of Videogame-Man versus Sim-Man. So, if you're unaware, this is a series that I've been running on Instagram and now on YouTube, where I play a simulator round and I play the same round on the same course on Xbox in the PGA Road to the Masters. So, obviously, I'm going to be better in the video game than I am in the sim. So, it's not a straight up match. Videogame-Man is playing from the tips, with that it runs out to about 7,300 yards. Sim Man is actually playing from the ladies' tee, which measures out to about 6,000 yards, and he's getting 5 shots to play with. And don't forget, he is in a simulator, so he's not ever going to lose a golf ball, and he's going to get to play with 8 foot gimme circles and no wind. And that's going to benefit him here right away, as this slope catches a pretty poor wedge shot and throws it into the gimme circle to give him a birdie on the first. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man, he safely went into the fairway. This shot is going to catch quickly, but he's still got about 12 feet for birdie, but no big deal. The first green at St. Andrews is pretty flat, and he's in for his birdie as well. So there's 5 shots into it as we move on to the second, and somehow playing the ladies' tees not only makes it way shorter, but it adds 4 additional par fives onto the scorecard. This is the first of those 4. So Sim Man is playing a par 5. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man is playing a par 4, and he's playing it from way longer as well. He hits a wonderful drive and he's off and running, and it's links golf. That golf ball may never stop, except that it hits this hill. So he's finally coming to rest safely in the fairway, and it's still his go. He has a lot longer to play this hole again, even though he's down a stroke on this hole. But that second shot is lovely, gets it in there. He's got about 10 feet left in. Meanwhile, Simman is 100 yards back in the rough. He's playing a nice little wedge knockdown out of there, but the greens are still firm here as well at St. Andrews, and that is going to roll off the back of the green. He could putt it, but he's going to decide to chip it in, trying to go for this eagle, and it's going to end up in the gimme circle, walking away with a second straight birdie. No big bird for him though. So Videogame-Man, bit of a slider here, but that is able to drop. So back-to-back birdies for both guys. We're through 2, still a 5-shot lead. All right, on to the third hole. And for those of you who have been following along on Instagram, you may remember that Videogame-Man has won 4 of these matches. Simman has won 3, and there has been 1 draw as Simman drives over the back of this green. So if Videogame-Man wins this match, it's done, it's over. He is declared winner for the 2025-2026 offseason. If, however, Simman manages to win this match, there may have to be a rubber match, and that may have to happen at Pebble Beach. But we got 16 holes left, and Simman, he drove over the back of this green. He's chipping back towards the flag, and it's not his best effort. But that being said, he's still got about 14, 15 feet to look at birdie. Videogame-Man, he's coming out of the bunker, and that is a steep wall, but he plays it nicely, runs it down the hill, and he's going to have a look for birdie himself, though he is technically off the green. So he's trying to chip in for this birdie, and it's just going to stay a little high, a little short. Shouldn't be any issue for par. Meanwhile, Simman can't come anywhere close with that terrible putt. So a couple of pars for both of these guys, and there are still 5 shots in this. We are heading off to the 4th hole, and this is the second par 4 that Simman gets to play like a par 5. And he's going to need every bit of help that he can get today if he wants to win. Driver is a little questionable. He pulls this to touch left, and he ends up in a little bit of thicker rough, but it's not the worst shot he's going to take today. Promise you that. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man, he's just crushing this drive down the right side, and it's going to roll for days. A nice shot. It goes into the rough, comes back into the fairway. Really not a bad place to be on what is a par 4 for him. So, a par 5 and a wedge in hand. This is just cheating from Sim-Man as far as anyone is concerned. Flies a little long, but it stops. He's going to have another eagle putt. A little bit ridiculous. And Videogame-Man, 83 yards into this flag, he is not going to be phased. This is an absolute dart. And yeah, he's going to clean that up for birdie. We're going to have to imagine. So, can Sim-Man match it? He's got 37 feet, playing like 41. The break is read terribly, and the pace is even worse. So he is not in that gimme circle, and he's not able. Never mind. He does save the birdie putt. So birdies all round, and still 5 shots in this. We are now heading off to the 5th hole, and if you know anything about St. Andrews Old Course, you know that this is really the first par 5 on the front 9, even though it's the 3rd one that Sim-Man is playing today. Traditionally, you go to any course around the world, you're usually going to find 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s, and the rest are going to be par 4s. But that's not the case at St. Andrews. The home of golf established it. There's only 1 par 5 and 1 par 3 on each 9, and from there we play par 72. And oh my God, what did Sim-Man just do there? That was an awful 5-iron swing. I know that he's just changed out his shafts. He's still getting used to the mid-irons, but that was terrible. And the second 5-iron is a little bit better, but still cuts off short of that green. So Videogame-Man has the door open, and look how big that green is. Yes, they are double greens here at St. Andrews, but that's pretty good from a distance. So he's going to have a look at eagle. Meanwhile, Sim-Man is just trying to save a really high score, and this chip isn't helping. He's got about 20-25 feet left from there, so hopefully he can do something with it. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man just can't make the eagle. He's going to have to tap in for birdie, but that lead is finally shrinking as we end up getting through the 5th hole. And now, instead of 5, it's only a 3-shot lead for Sim-Man. And now as we get into the 6th hole, you will see the Videogame-Man has been on an absolute tear so far during this round. These first 5 holes, he's played dramatically under par, and another good drive to get him going on the 6th. So that's going to put things squarely into Videogame-Man's court, and Sim-Man, he's trying his best to not blow up here. That last hole was horrendous, and this drive is ugly. Oh my God, that start line is left, and that is some very thick rough. Lucky for him, he doesn't have much left into it. Just a flip wedge from a very loose rough pattern. Could have been a lot worse if he had jumped up into those bushes. Instead, he's going to leave himself a lengthy putt, but he does have a look at birdie. And then Videogame-Man just sneaks onto the green, played that tight, and barely worked out for him. So we got a couple of long looks at birdie, and it's actually going to drop. Unbelievable putt after a horrendous tee shot, and then a great tee shot turns into a great little putt from off the green. Birdies all round, and that's how you play the 6th hole, properly and improperly. On to the 7th, and this hole shares a green with the 11th, and it might be the toughest green on the course. Typically, you'll see the 7th flag way off to the right, as you will today, and that part of the green is definitely easier to manage. But getting there is trickier than you might think, because there is so much rough and fescue between the tee and the green. And that kind of works out for Sim-Man as he yanks this thing off to the left. A horrendous drive, but long and left at St. Andrews tends to work out, and he gives himself a look at the green and gets on it safely. So, Sim-Man, safe. Videogame-Man, not so much, but he does play a nice little chip shot, bounces up, and oh, look at him using the slopes here. This just is beautiful. So we've got birdie looks again. Can Sim-Man make it? Yes, two terrible tee shots in a row leading to two birdies, and somehow it's still a 3-shot lead. We are moving on to the 8th, which is the only par 3 on the front 9 of St. Andrews Old Course. And Videogame-Man is playing this from 200 yards, and he is safely into the middle of the green. But that might be too safe. He has almost 70 feet left to that pin, and it's going to play closer to 95. On the other hand, Sim-Man is choked down on an 8-iron. He has just put a smooth tempo on this, and oh my goodness, carries the flag, spins it back. He's in for birdie right away. Clearly, he's getting along with those new iron shafts and the shorter irons. And now for a massive putt, so much pressure on it to try to keep pace, and it's just going to die on the edge. So Videogame-Man has to settle for par, and that lead is extended back out to 4 shots as we move on to the 9th. So after that birdie, I don't think that Sim-Man paid enough attention to how long this hole actually is playing. It's only 250 to the flag right now, and it is going to be extremely hard to play this hole backwards. After he flies the green completely, he's going to have some work to do. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man, he knew what was going on, he knew the task at hand, and he crushes this drive. It is a little bit into the wind. It's going to come up just a touch short, but I know who I would rather be of the two, and it ain't this guy who's hitting from way further back, across the green. He's just trying to get into that gimme circle to walk away with a birdie, and he does manage it. So after another not so great drive, he's in good position. The chip from Videogame-Man, it's not nearly as good. He's leaving himself 17 feet into this, and oh my goodness, that lead is extending out even further as he taps in for par. We're back to the original 5 shots after the 9th, and wow, didn't see this coming as we move on to the back. So on to the 10th, and Sim-Man's driving has been poor all day if we're being fair about it, but luckily for him, there isn't a tree to be found, and that TrackMan software is never going to lose a ball for him. So that TrackMan software can be found at LFG in Markham on Denison. It is the best simulator around. It is perfectly private, or you can rent 2 bays back to back, throw those doors open, and host a party that you can't match anywhere else. It is the best simulator around, hands down, and the ownership group is phenomenal. Shout out to Wilson, shout out to Ricky and the rest of them. It's the best simulator, honestly. Once you're done watching this video, go to the LFG in Markham, book your round, see if you can beat my round at St. Andrews. I dare you. It's not going to be that hard, though, because honestly, I'm not playing anywhere near my best. So see if you can beat Videogame-Man, because he's playing a little bit better, even though he's got some massively long putts over the last 2 holes. Last hole, he nearly holed out from about 100 feet. And this putt, honestly, you're going to take that every day. He's in about 3 feet left. It's a great shot. It's just not going to get the job done today when Videogame-Man is going up against someone who has 8-foot gimmies. Oh, well. He still manages to make up 1 shot. Now there are only 4 left into it as we go off to the 11th. And here is that massively hard green again. Again, I think this is the hardest green in golf. It is just a massive hill. And if you are left or right of that flag, you are in for an absolute roller coaster of a time. Videogame-Man safe. Sim-Man not so much. He is on the green, but he is massively left of it, pin high, and you can see now just how bad these slopes really are. Videogame-Man can't read it properly, but look at this. Look at this thing. He's just lucky that it stops in the circle. It could have, for the same money, just run all the way down 40 feet from the flag. Both of these guys are tapping in for pars, and lucky for them, there are no more par 3s, and there isn't another green like that on the course. Off to the 12th, and it is another drivable par 4, and Videogame-Man is on that green in spite of the wind. Meanwhile, Sim-Man, he's just struggling with that driver today, and he's going to need to figure that out soon because there are some very demanding driving holes coming up. So as he steps to this tee, thinking about driving it, that swing tells you everything you need to know. It's not going to be anywhere close. He's yanked it off to the left again, and he is in some very thick rough. Those bushes would be unplayable in real life, but he is lucky to just chop a wedge out of it, even though it comes up short. This chip onto the green is not his best effort, and he is going to have a look at par, but it's no gimme. Speaking of no gimme, this is a massive hill, and Videogame-Man decides to chip over it rather than putt over it. Interesting call, and I wonder if he might be doing that again at any other point in the round. And that is an awful putt from Videogame-Man. So how many strokes? Just the one. After missing that birdie putt, just one stroke is going to be made up here, but that's okay. On to the 13th, and Videogame-Man once again is behind the 8 ball. This is a long par 4 for him, but it's a par 5 for Sim-Man. Even though it's only 380 yards, somehow it is a par 5 for Sim-Man. This is just ridiculous. And even though he's been hitting driver like an absolute idiot, including here, this drive goes absolutely nowhere, only managing to get 250 some odd yards. He's going to have a wedge into the green. It's not fair. Videogame-Man, he's hitting one hell of a nice shot out of that rough. You would take that every day with the wind up at 12 to 15 miles per hour. It's just not going to be good enough, though. Not when your opponent gets an extra shot and he's got a wedge in his hand. This is a nice little shot, and he's got 15 feet for eagle. Meanwhile, 33 feet for birdie for Videogame-Man, and he just can't get it to drop. It's been a few of those putts so far today. You give him a gimme circle, and I think he's absolutely killing Sim-Man. But he doesn't get that, as he's going to tap in for par. And now 4 shots in this as we move on to the 14th hole. And this is truly a par 5, and it's back-to-back par 5s for Sim-Man, and he finally gets a little bit of distance out of his drive, but still can't find a fairway. But honestly, we're running out of holes, and the pressure is fully on Videogame-Man now as we get into the final stretch, and he still has a 4-shot deficit. He starts this ball OB and just crushes it right down the middle of the fairway. A lovely drive, and it's going to set him up to try to get home into. He's got fairway wood in his hands. It's drawing nicely, but the wind is just immense, and it just kills it. He's in a good spot after 2, but he's going to have a miracle to walk away with eagle. It's just really not going to happen. On the other side of things, a 6-iron running up might just be enough for Sim-Man, but it's going to come up short, pretty much in the same spot as Videogame-Man, but the chips are going to play out pretty differently. That's beautiful, and you got to imagine a birdie's going to follow. Meanwhile, going to a different flag in the different part of the green, Videogame-Man just hits it terribly. Sim-Man hits it terribly, and he leaves himself 27 feet for birdie, and the putt is just going to be a little left. So he's walking away with his par. Meanwhile, Videogame-Man takes a birdie, and now we've got 3 shots in it. We are now moving on to the 15th. We are in the closing stretch, and OB is finally coming into play off of the tee here. There is a fair distance to the right that you can still play with, but out of bounds does exist. So pressure is on Sim-Man. You can see that OB line running down the right side. He's aiming right at the flag anyhow, and he still can't hit driver. He yanks this thing safely off to the left, and he puts it right through the neighboring fairway into the rough. Thankfully for him, the four caddies in the software are going to point that ball out. He didn't even need to track it, but my God, what a freaking horrendous drive. Keeps it safe though, and really that's all he needs to do because he's been hitting his irons and wedges pretty well. He's got a little over 100 yards into this flag, so just a wedge out of fescue that isn't real, and he's safely onto the green. And he has about 50 some odd feet here, so this is a difficult putt. He'd be happy, thrilled in fact, to get into the gimme circle, and he does. So he's keeping his lead safe, and Videogame-Man really needs this, but he can't. This is what, the fourth or fifth time that he's just lipped out on his birdie putts, and he is just running out of time. We're on to the 16th, and he's got 3 holes to make up 3 shots. The drive is great, but honestly, unless Sim-Man goes out of bounds, you have to imagine that it's going to be a hard victory to come by for Videogame-Man today. And this drive is awful with the 3-wood, but it's okay because it's not OB. And Videogame-Man can only sit and watch as Sim-Man takes that same 3-wood, lines up to the flag, and nearly gets onto the green. This is a really nice shot. It's not, honestly, not his best hole, but he's not dead. He's not going to make birdie from there, but he has a chance to save par. So Videogame-Man really needs to make this shot count, and it looks okay, but the wind is just pushing it a little left, a little long. He has a longer putt for birdie than he would like, and in fact, it even hits that hill. So he has a miracle putt coming up if he wants to close this gap. And all that Sim-Man needs to do is get in that gimme circle. He can't. He leaves it at about 8 foot 2 inches. But I think that we're just running out of time. Another beautiful putt, just rolling an inch by for Videogame-Man. And it's enough for Sim-Man to breathe easy. He's going to end up with bogey, but it's only 1 shot. There are 2 holes left, 2 shots in it, but unfortunately for Videogame-Man, this is the road hole. It's the most famous in the open rotation, with a reputation as the toughest par 4 in championship golf. Unfairly for Videogame-Man, this is playing as a par 5 for Sim-Man. Even less fair, when Sim-Man played at Wooden Sticks back in 2024, there's a replica of this hole, and he managed to birdie it from a longer distance than he's playing it in the sim today, and he has finally figured out how to hit driver. He hits a beautiful cut down the left side of that fairway, just under 300 yards, and you have to imagine with a shot in hand that the rest of this match is just going to be a formality. But he does need to close it out, and that's a lovely shot, safely into the green, spinning it back closer to the flag. And Videogame-Man just needs to get this on a tucked pin, and it's just not going to happen for him. Just covers the bunker, but not far enough, and it's going to end up in the bottom of that bunker. And there go all of his hopes, unless this thing ends up in the bottom of the cup. You take this shot every day, but he just is out of time. He needed that to go in, and he needs Sim-Man to miss this badly. He doesn't. He goes into the circle, so he walks away with his birdie, and Videogame-Man can only manage a par. So we're moving on to the 18th, which is going to end up being a formality unless Sim-Man pushes this drive wildly out of bounds. Videogame-Man crushes his drive. It's a tight little draw, and it's going to run all the way up onto the green, which just leaves one thing left before this match is over. Can Videogame-Man escape? I don't think so, because Sim-Man hasn't hit a drive to the right all day, and this is an awful drive once again, starting up the left side but cutting back, and he's safe. He's as safe as anyone could possibly be on the 18th at St. Andrews. Just aimed dead at that clock tower, inadvertently or otherwise, and he's only got a wedge in. So he is going to win this match, which means we likely will have a rubber match at Pebble Beach. If you want to see that match, let me know in the comments, because I'm not going to do it if nobody's watching. It's been beautiful. St. Andrews is my favorite course in the world, and it has always been a thrill to play this course in the sim or in the video game. I don't care. Any chance I get, I want to play St. Andrews. And it was beautiful. A great day in the sim, a great day in the video game. Honestly, 9 under for Videogame-Man is a tough score. 6 under is a really good score, even if it is from a ladies' tee on a par 76. Sim-Man shot 70. Couldn't hit driver all day, shot 70. It's been tremendously fun. Again, Sim-Man 4, Videogame-Man 4. Let me know in the comments if you want to watch the finale at Pebble Beach.